My name is Ross Sherwood. I'm a lead consultant for Air Cadet. I'm an active airline pilot on Airbus 320, 321 fleet here in the US for a major airline. And I'm a certified flight instructor, been certified as a flight instructor since 2006. Still hold the license, still instruct occasionally, but primarily we conduct the mentorship and consulting services for the airline pilots, for the prospective airline pilots, for those who want to become airline pilots because of our programs here at Air Cadet. The programs that we have are mostly ab initio programs starting from zero PPL level, but we also have a lot of career development programs. So we basically provide those as well. We also have a lot of license conversion services, so we convert foreign licenses into the US format for different purposes and into the Canadian format as well. Those are very popular conversions for a lot of international pilots. About myself, been flying since '96, started in the military a long time ago, then took a break for a few years, then went into civilian flying in 2005, and been flying ever since that. My flight time is close to about 10,000 hours. I worked in many countries around the world. Obviously, I work right now in the US, but I worked in China for a couple of years, Indonesia for about 3 years, Malaysia, Singapore for about a year, obviously all as a pilot, different capacities. Hold several licenses, including from China and Indonesia, but of course, primarily US. So today we'll discuss the main topic, which is how to become a Cathay Pacific pilot. Now, I have a special connection to this topic. I was actually hired as a Cathay pilot in 2011. And I went through admission process. I went through all the process, including with my wife. They actually invited my wife as well to come the interview. If you're married, to interview a spouse to ensure that you're okay with living in Hong Kong. And so today we'll discuss exactly what are the benefits of becoming a Cathay pilot, how to go through admission process, how to succeed in going through admission process, and what do you need for that? What do you need exactly to become a Cathay pilot? We'll also discuss a couple of options, how to get to the qualifications required through the flight training programs. We'll discuss about what is it that they require as a minimum and what is it that they're actually looking for. Okay, those are very important things because having the minimum requirements does not get you a job with Cathay Pacific. So if you navigate later on, you could do that perhaps to our website. And so we have aircadet.com website right here, aircadet.com. You can access our blog. We have a lot of information on the blog page. This is a new article about Cathay employment. I wrote it myself. And you can just scroll down to articles and reviews, click on that. You'll see we had a couple of weeks ago, we did a webinar about how to become an MRS pilot. So you can click here and basically it will give you information how to become an MRS pilot. And there's also a recorded webinar. I'll link to recorded webinar at that link as well. Kind of slow right now, probably because we have a Zoom meeting in progress. Try to refresh that. Anyways, while this is refreshing, we'll talk about Cathay Pacific, basically employment. So why is it great to work for Cathay? As you know, recently during the pandemic, they had to shrink their fleet significantly. They actually had to shrink the operation from 100% to something like 2%. So it was a very significant shrinkage in terms of operation. But because they shrunk so much, now they have to restore their operation. So now they're actively hiring. They're hiring everybody, all the capacities. They're hiring pilots as second officers, which was always the initial sort of entry-level position. They're hiring pilots as first officers, direct entry first officers, and they are hiring captains as well. But most hiring they do is as second officers. The benefits of working there are pretty great. It's mostly, well, it's only a wide body fleet. So, you fly new aircraft, you fly around the world. It's really awesome flying. They basically have a very safe environment, safe operation environment. They, practice a safety record is probably one of the best in the world, not just in Southeast Asia. And obviously, their salary progressively gets it from about $8,000 per month as a second officer to about $23,000 a month as a captain. And of course, the taxes are negligible in this environment, so you get to pretty much keep the entire salary to yourself. I'm not sure why we're not loading here. Probably some kind of an internet problem here, so we'll just carry on until we figure out what's going on here with that loading. But here's Cathay Pacific second officer direct entry requirements. And you can go to Cathay Pacific, so it's careers.cathaypacific.com, second officer direct entry. Second officer, meaning, what is second officer, first of all? Second officer, first officer, what's the difference? Well, there's almost no difference. The second officer is what they call a cruise pilot. And so you're basically, your main responsibilities are to fly the aircraft above 25,000 feet, and be a part of the augmented flight crew. Augmented flight crew is when you have a long flight, more than 8 hours, and you need additional pilots to help the primary flight crew with flying the aircraft. So the primary flight crew normally flies the aircraft for about 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours. Then they switch with cruise pilots. So the cruise pilot, which is second officer, becomes first officer in flight, and he's on the right seat at the controls, where the relief captain will be on the left seat, and the crew that took off from Hong Kong will go and take a nap. They'll sleep for about 3 or 4 hours, and then they'll swap with the augmented crew. So that's what the second officer is. So second officer doesn't get to land or take off the aircraft, but they do get to practice that 3 times in a simulator, in a Class D simulator at Cathay City simulator. So you still get to do all that stuff. It's just in the simulator. But in practice, in reality, you're not allowed to take off or land until you're promoted to the first officer position after about 5 to 6 years. So you get a lot of experience, basically, and a lot of simulator flight time. Once you get promoted first officer, obviously you do your takeoffs and landings. So after about 6-7 years, you get promoted to your captain. So Cathay Pacific is unique because it hires pilots from all over the world. It hires them. It doesn't matter what passports they have, doesn't matter what nationality they have. And so it's ideal for a lot of our students, because we have students from all over the world. I'd say 75 to 80% of our students are from India, but we have a lot of students from other countries. And so Cathay Pacific is interested specifically in international pilots from all over the world. But what they're looking for is sort of Western-oriented aviation training. So it's important for them because safety is very important for them. So let's go through the minimum requirements here. What do you need to apply to be a Cathay Pacific pilot, second officer? First of all, an important thing is you do not need jet time, right? A couple of weeks ago, we did a webinar about applying for Middle Eastern airlines like Emirates, Qatar, Etihad, Fly Dubai, and stuff like that. They all require at least 2,000 hours of jet time. So you have to work as a first officer somewhere else before you're actually eligible to apply to become first officer with them. And that's normally a problem, because if you come to do flight training, for example, in the United States, our program uniquely offers you an ability to do flight training, and after that, internship for up to 2 years, and after that, another advanced internship. So you can actually get a lot of flight time with us and a full ATPL license. However, you will not be able to get jet time. Jet time is a lot more complicated. So if you go to a Canadian flight training program, for example, it takes longer, but you should be able to get jet time there because after 2 years of internship, you qualify for PR, for permanent residency, and with permanent residency, you can apply to work with the Canadian Airlines. If you come to do flight training quickly in the US, which takes 6 to 8 months quicker than in Canada, for example, you're not going to get jet time. You're going to get a lot of propeller time. You should be able to get some turboprop time, but not the jet time. So this is a great opportunity, Cathay Pacific. Once you finish your ATPL, you get your fully ATPL certified. You got all the licenses. You got at least 1,500 hours of flight time. You will definitely meet those qualifications right here. However, you will exceed them as well. So the point is to exceed them. If you just meet them as a minimal right here, it might be okay if you're actually a Hong Kong citizen, right? If you have a Hong Kong passport, they're probably going to hire you with a minimum of 250 hours. But if you don't, they want you to compete with other applicants. And so what they really want to see is an ATPL, right? So it says here, airline transfer pilot license or commercial pilot license. So really what they want is ATPL. With multi-engine instrument rating, obviously, and 250 hours of flying experience, 1,000 hours, and multi-engine crew cooperation time preferred. So you see 1,000 hours is preferred. What is multi-crew cooperation? When you work as a flight instructor, you technically work in a multi-crew. You're part of two crew, so there are two people in the cockpit. You have the pilot under instruction, pilot under training, the PUT, and they got a PIC, pilot in command. And you as a flight instructor are pilot in command, and the PUT is a pilot under training. So technically, it is multi-crew cooperation, and it's something that the airline prefers, right? So 250 hours is not going to get you hired with Cathay Pacific. At least 1,000 hours, preferentially 1,500 hours, and 1,500 hours is going to give you a full unrestricted FAA ATPL. Okay, eligible for Hong Kong CPL conversion. Obviously, all the ICAO licenses are eligible for the conversion, and FAA license is definitely an ICAO license. In fact, FAA is a founding member of ICAO. Now, valid Class 1 medical. You will have that anyways if you have ATPL from FAA, so that's not a problem. ICAO English language proficiency level 4 or above. So level 4 and above, that's what it says there. Are they actually going to hire somebody who's level 4? No, absolutely not. I've been to their offices where they test people. The English level is being tested and everything else. And of course, I had a waiver because I don't need to be tested for English level. But everyone else who wasn't US or UK or Australian citizen, New Zealand and stuff like that was absolutely tested, and level 4 is not enough. They want to see level 5 plus. Okay, and this is why they prefer pilots who do their flight training in English-speaking countries like US, Canada, stuff like that. It's very important for them to make sure that the pilots do their flight training there. They completed some kind of internship in those countries, and basically, we're immersed into that English-speaking environment. It's extremely important for them. The whole airline is run in English. They have a lot of Canadian pilots there, a lot of Australian pilots. Say majority of English-speaking pilots in Cathay are from Australia, and that's because Australia has a lot of really talented aviators. But unfortunately, the market in Australia for employment is very small. So they tend to work for a lot of international airlines like Cathay Pacific or Emirates, Qatar, and stuff like that. And COVID-19 vaccination certificate, obviously, that's not a problem. And so those are the requirements for second officer direct entry. So you can see there's no requirement for jet time, no requirement for type rating, nothing like that is needed. Okay, so let's get into our article here, and I really love for you to read it because it's a fairly long article. I wrote it myself. It's based on information that is currently available. I have some friends who work for Cathay Pacific. One of my really good friends, the captain on a 350 there. I spoke to him recently to get all the information ready. So we want to make sure we guys give you the best information possible. So you have all that knowledge before you apply. So how much second officers make right now? The salary is $6,000 per month plus $2,000 allowance. So it's $8,000 a month. Is that a lot of money for Hong Kong? Not really. To be honest, it's not a huge amount of money. This is one of the reasons I didn't take the job offer, because at that time I was able to get better salary as a direct entry captain with a regional airline in the US. So instead of being a second officer with Cathay, I could have, I decided to go straight in as a captain in a light aircraft, like a CRJ aircraft at that time in the US. And I was making slightly more money, but the cost of living in the US is a lot less. So for me, it was a better option. And that's why I didn't go there. But a lot of guys did go there and basically, had to share maybe an apartment in Hong Kong or maybe rent outside of Hong Kong. But yeah, $8,000 is not a huge amount of money. So bear in mind that for the first sort of 5-6 years while you're working as a second officer, you're not going to get rich, but you're definitely going to get a lot of amazing experience. And you're going to get a free type rating for a wide body aircraft with top-notch training. So after 5-6 years, you expect to be promoted to first officer. First officer, again, is you're authorized to take off and land the aircraft. The salary is approximately $10,000 per month plus a $2,000 living allowance. So that's $12,000 a month. And that's a significant amount of money, even for Hong Kong. Again, you're not going to get super rich in that money, but you definitely can live very comfortably and definitely enjoy yourself. And finally, after 5 or 6 years, you can basically apply for upgrade as a captain. The captain normally makes about $20,000 per month, but it does depend on the sectors of the flight, the amount of flight time they do. Same thing with first officers. Those are just estimates. So a captain can make anywhere between, I'd say, 18 to 25, 26,000 per month. Obviously, that's a significant amount of money. You'll definitely can save half of it, put it into your investment account, et cetera, et cetera. There are a lot of other benefits, like the flight benefits. Obviously, you and your whole family can fly with Cathay anywhere for free, including business class. You got full healthcare benefits. You got retirement planning. So Cathay basically provides special account for your retirement where you can put the money in investment, managed by investment companies, and basically will be ready there when you retire at the age of 60. Training and development. Obviously, it's you're getting free training and free type rating. So that's a lot of airlines charge for that a lot of money. So you get all that stuff for free. Also, when you start as a first officer, you actually get your license conversion for free as well. You will go to Adelaide, which is in Australia, to do a conversion and basically qualify as a Hong Kong ATP pilot for that purpose. And again, you don't pay anything for that. It's all paid for. And while you're doing your conversion, you also get paid a salary, a second officer salary. So not bad at all. Let's see what else. You have loss of license insurance. If something happens and you lost your medical, you're unable to work as a pilot, you'll be paid X amount of money. I can't remember what it is, but I think it's a gist of $1.5 or $1.7 million. So you can retire and enjoy your life without a problem. Housing allowance, we talked about that. Meal allowance, obviously, is called per diem. When you fly to other countries, they give you per diem, which is approximately $200, $250 per day. So you can buy meals when you're not home, right? And that's fairly a lot of money. Let's say if you fly from Hong Kong to San Francisco, it's a common route. You're probably not going to spend $250 per day eating in San Francisco. You're probably going to spend $50 or $60 per day. So, it's just additional money that you put in your pocket. Uniform allowance obviously is there. Transportation, you don't pay anything for transportation. It's provided fully by Cathay. You have quite a few days for annual leave, sick leave, and Family support programs include free education, private schools for your kids, and stuff like that. So it's a very robust, very sort of amazing benefit program, and that's why a lot of applicants want to go to Cathay, because it's a real career airline, phenomenal career airline. Okay, so as right here we have two links. We have the second officer direct entry, first officer direct entry. So first officer direct entry is very similar to Emirates, right? You have to have flight time in the jet. And so we're not going to discuss that today, purely because we do have information here, but you can just click on that and see what exactly you need for first officer direct entry. Again, as a general rule, you need to have a couple thousand hours of flight time as a first officer on a lighter aircraft, maybe a CRJ or something like that, before you're eligible. So it's very similar to the Middle Eastern airlines. But the second officer direct entry is unique to Cathay, and this is why it's so attractive to a lot of pilots who graduate from flight training with us. They have an ATPL, they have 1,500 hours, and they basically qualify to go into second officer direct entry program with Cathay without type rating, without jet time. So we just outlined here exactly what you need, and that's pretty much the copy of the Cathay website. We have explained some of the stuff here. So first officer application, you can see right here, just an outline. If you actually have flight time, you need to have 3,000 hours of flight time, which is what they prefer. Again, don't go by the basics, go by what they prefer, because you'll be competing with other candidates. 500 hours is piloting command, 250 hours piloting command P1 and stuff like that. So you'll see all the qualifications here. And they want you to have flight time at least 500 hours on an aircraft with maximum takeoff weight of 45,000 kilograms. And that's not a CRJ. That's normally, that would be probably Airbus 318, 319, or other qualifications right here. So you can go through that. But again, this is for first officer direct entry. We'll be discussing mostly second officer direct entry because it's unique to Cathay Pacific. So how to pass the interview and assessment process. So again, I personally interviewed with them. The assessment process was fairly complicated, fairly long, but if you prepare for it, it wasn't that bad at all. So let's talk about that. Let's say you went to their website right here, Cathay Pacific, you clicked apply now, you filled out application form, and now you just wait for a few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, until they send you an email. They're going to send you an email, say, hey, we like your application. You got all the qualifications we require and above, which is what we prefer. We'd like to invite you for initial assessment. And so they're going to invite you into a local office. It's not going to be the head office. It's going to be a local office. Let's say you live in India. There's a local Cathay Pacific admin office. They're going to invite you there. They're going to ask you to take two or three aptitude tests. It's normally 2 IQ tests. It would be Raven progressive matrices, which is something you can prepare for. And so we have an outline here exactly what it is. Basically, if you read through here, you'll be able to get the name of the first 2 IQ tests. Again, you want to practice the matrices, and you want to score the top 30%. I remember I practiced them for probably a couple of weeks, and I scored the top 3%. So, they were quite impressed with that. After the matrices, the progressive Ravens test, they will give you a little exam, a little test asking about Cathay Pacific. How well do you know Cathay Pacific? There'll be questions about how many aircraft approximately they have, what types of aircraft they operate, what bases they run. They'll ask you about Hong Kong Airport. They'll ask you about the destinations they fly to and stuff like that. And most importantly, they ask you about the history of Cathay Pacific. When was it started? By whom? Who owns Cathay Pacific? And stuff like that. So it's always good just to go to Wikipedia page and thoroughly read information about Cathay Pacific. You'll find that all information they ask you about is from Wikipedia. You just go to Wikipedia, Cathay Pacific, read about it, understand information, try to memorize as much as possible, and you should be able to score fairly high on their general knowledge test for Cathay. Once you scored well, say again, top 30%, they will send you an email, invite you for a proper interview. The interview process will be a 3-day interview. It will be at Cathay City, which will be in Hong Kong. So they're going to send you a business class ticket. If you are married, they'll send you a business class ticket to your spouse as well, because there will be a short evening there, short sort of cocktail party, as they call it, where they're probably going to ask a few questions. You're going to ask your wife or your husband a few questions to find out, to figure out whether or not you both are interested in moving to Hong Kong and sort of dedicated your life and your career to Cathay. So that would be an important thing. Once you arrive in Hong Kong, they'll push you to a 5-star hotel at Cathay City. Cathay City is where Cathay Pacific is located. They have all the offices there. They have Sim Center. They have their own hotel there. So they're going to put you in Cathay City. It's right next to the airport. Very nice accommodation. So interviewing day one, what to expect at day one. Day one basically is going to be further assessments. So it's going to be basically some basic arithmetic tests. You'll be sitting in front of a computer, and there'll be one test after another. So the first test will be just basic arithmetic. You'll be required to add basic numbers like we have here: 45 plus 18 minus 26. Approximate mental math. We do some mental math and input the number in the computer. And if you get close, I think it's plus minus 1 or 2, you'll get X amount of points for that. So the first test will be on math or basically arithmetic, mental math, how much you can do, how well you can do that. Very easy to prepare for that. Just practice at home, basic mental math. As I said, no more than 2 or 3 operations, 15 plus 21 minus 76 or something like that, and you'll be able to get pretty good on that. Maybe a couple of weeks of practice, no more than that. The next thing will be an interview with a panel. So once you complete that, you'll go basically to get interviewed. The interview will probably take about 10 to 15 minutes. It will be with the recruitment panel, most of the captains, and they'll ask you different questions just to test your aeronautical knowledge. The aeronautical knowledge will be, for example, about the aircraft that you're familiar with. If you've flown just piston airplanes before, they might ask you questions like, what is the crosswind limitation for the aircraft? They might ask you some hypothetical questions about flight planning, about diversion technique, about hydroplaning in this case. I remember that was definitely a question for me, and fortunately, I remember the hydroplaning formula. So that impressed everybody. But yeah, so just definitely, go through aeronautical knowledge. By the time you have your ATP license, you'll be very well versed in aeronautical knowledge. So passing this interview wouldn't be a problem, unless you forgot something, and just, again, just go through aeronautical knowledge manuals. If you do need help with this, we actually have. If you go to aerocadet.com, we have a free aeronautical knowledge library to assist you with that. So just scroll all the way down, and right here, Restart a Library, click on that. And you see all those books here, Pilot's Handbook, Aeronautical Knowledge, chapter from 1 to 17. That's a lot of information you can just download and review for free. Transfer County Aeronautical Manual is mostly Canadian information. Airplane Flying Handbook, again, a lot of information. Instrument Flying Handbook, Flying Instructor Rate training here. But the main information you need for Cathay, just go through this. Pilot's Handbook, Aeronautical Knowledge. principles of flight, aerodynamics, flight controls, aircraft system, flight instruments, airport operations, all that stuff. If you just go through all those stuff just once, you should be able to pass the panel interview where you will be asked about that stuff. So shouldn't be a problem. And again, by the time you have your ATP, you would have known all of that already. Day two, so they mix it up sometimes. Day two will also be some panel interviews, will be HR interviews with the human resources and stuff like that. So you'll basically, they'll be asking questions about your resume, where you're from, where you complete the education and stuff like that. For the education, it's important to know that they're not really looking for a degree. They really don't care. Degree is not important for them. There's no requirement for a degree anywhere. So those of you who want to spend 4 extra years studying for a degree first and then doing flight training, it's not required. Most airlines do not require that. And we actually have an article about that. If you go to, again, articles and reviews here and scroll all the way down there, you'll see an article which is called, "Do You Need a Degree for a Specific Airline?" So we got a lot of articles here. And just to read through the article, there's a table there which basically has pretty much all the popular airlines around the world, and it tells you whether or not you need a degree for that or not. Just scroll all the way down, just load more, and you'll see that article there in the list of, here we go, "Do you need an aviation degree to become an airline pilot?" So click on that, and it basically has see that table here, and it tells you whether or not you need a degree, okay? So just go through that. And so Cathay Pacific Hong Kong, required no, preferred no. Would it give you something to talk about during the interview? Sure. Do they care? Absolutely not. So, I'd recommend read this article. If you absolutely want a degree, if you want to have a degree in your resume, you can do that by joining an online aviation degree program. And you can get a 4-year degree after your flight training. Once you finish your flight training, you get a 4-year degree in just 2 years, and it will cost you about $20,000 to $25,000 instead of $150,000, where this is where you pay for a traditional university. So just read through that; you'll see all the information right here. All right, going back to our CAFE process. So the interview day 3. So day 2 as well, you'll have to do some exercises, some group work exercises. You work as a team with other pilots who get interviewed. You will be presented with a specific problem, right? You're just going to sit around the desk. You'll be presented with a problem, for example, a problem where, let's say you fly into your destination airport, and the destination airport has a weather change, and the weather does not allow you to land. So maybe there's an accident and a crosswind limitation, or maybe there's a wind shear or something like that, something that basically precludes you from landing. And so you were presented with an options, different diversion options, whether or not where you want to divert based on the amount of fuel you have on the aircraft, based on the original destination, and basically you have to decide where to divert and how to divert it. And you have to work as a team, which will show to the recruiters that you're able to communicate effectively and basically influence the decision-making process. And you have something interesting to say, something that perhaps will contribute to the decision-making process here, okay? And while you're doing all that, obviously, you'll be observed by the recruiters. You'll be observed by a captain who will be sitting in that room. You'll be observed by HR specialists. So it's important to contribute to the conversation, not just sit there and kind of listen to everyone else. And so those are group exercises they have to do. And finally, on day 3, once you pass day 1 and 2, day 3 will be your simulator assessment in a Boeing 747 used in 2011. Right now, they're using same aircraft. They might be using 747-400. They used to use 747-200, which was just an analog instrument aircraft. Right now, if I'm correctly informed, they use 747-400, which is a glass cockpit mostly aircraft. And so you'll have to do a very specific profile. The profile will involve for you to take off. Everything's done raw data without autopilot, without flight director. You take off, you go to a certain altitude, let's say 10,000 feet, and you'll be asked to do a little bit of air work, maybe do a couple of steep turns, then speed up, slow down, and stuff like that. Just very basic stuff. And obviously, they'll give you a very brief instruction on how to do all of that stuff. You will be also emailed the profile a couple of days prior to assessment, so you know exactly what you're doing, and you'll know what to expect. After you've done the air work, you'll be required to conduct an ILS approach. Again, raw data without autopilot. You're going to descend to the minimums. You will be challenged with an engine failure or engine fire at that time. You'll be required to go around, follow the go-around procedure, and then extinguish the fire. So follow the process to extinguish the fire, and then come again for landing, and basically land with 3 engines instead of 4. And so what they're looking for is for you to how you're going to adapt to all this stuff, and basically work with the first officer, or in this case, with the captain, who will be a Cathay employee. So you'll be flying as a first officer in the right seat. You'll be working with the captain, who's the Cathay captain there, and obviously he'll be evaluating you during this process. Now, this is a tricky part. What do you do to prepare for that? A lot of guys that don't prepare for that fail that assessment, because 747 simulator is a very complex aircraft. So if you come from propeller background, flying, Cessnas and even light turbine aircraft like a King Air, it's still a very complicated, very different sort of aircraft to fly. It behaves very differently. And so a lot of people fail that. So I would recommend to definitely call a local simulator center, ask them if you have 747, and specifically ask them if you have a Cathay interview profile. And most of them, 99% of them, have the Cathay interview profile, because they rent out the simulators very often to the Cathay candidates. And so that would recommend that you spend about 2, 3, maybe 4 hours practicing this profile. We call it profile because it's a specific profile with takeoffs and landings, what exactly to do. Yes, it will cost you probably a couple $1,000, but an important thing is that you'll be prepared, and when you come to an interview, you will fly this profile exactly as mandated, and you'll impress them, and you'll basically tick all the boxes. So if you really, really want the Cathay job, I would definitely recommend doing that practice in a 747 simulator. I definitely did that. I went to Miami, and I spent a couple hours in the sim center there, basically drilling that profile. And when I came to Cathay, I flew it down to a T very well. So they were quite impressed with that. Once you're done with all of that, you can expect a final employment offer. Employment offer will come to you basically in an envelope. It will be shoved under the door of your hotel room, congratulating you that you passed the 3-day process, the 3-day interview process, and basically, the one should come back in a couple of days or next day in order to receive your employment offer. Also, a part of this process on day 3, to celebrate the completion, there will be a little cocktail party. You'll be invited to attend a little party at Cathay City with your spouse. And so during that process, your spouse will be likely, very likely, very covertly interviewed by the HR staff, just to ensure that she or he are willing to spend, a part of their career or full career with Cathay. They're thrilled about Cathay Pacific, but most importantly, they enjoy the idea of living in Hong Kong. And so it's very sort of important to brief your spouse about that to ensure that you guys are on the same page, and you basically articulate they articulate to the HR representatives that they are very excited about living in Hong Kong and about the career with Cathay Pacific. And so only then the interview process will be over, right? It's not over until it's over. Needless to say that when you have this cocktail party, the alcohol will be free of charge. Do not get drunk. It's very important. So just maybe have one drink to be polite and enjoy yourself, socialize, but make sure that you understand it's still a part of the interview process. So final employment, this is when you'll be asked to come back to the main office of Cathay Pacific, sign the contract, and the contract will give you a few days of a cooling off period, about 7 days of cooling off period. What does that mean? It means that you have 7 days to change your mind, right? So during that time, they encourage you to, walk around Cathay City, walk around Hong Kong, go to restaurants, go to clubs, go to real estate agencies to find out what sort of apartment you can get for what price and stuff like that. Try to figure out if you actually want to accept that offer. Also bear in mind that once you accepted the offer, the training process, the conversion process will take place not in Hong Kong, but in Australia, in Adelaide, Australia. And the process will take 4 to 6 months. So you'll be in Australia for a few months, converting your license and basically achieving the Cathay licensing standards. So it's something to consider. Again, most pilots obviously thrilled about the fact that they got an offer and they love it, they enjoy it, they sign the contract, and they start their training. Some pilots with more options, like myself at that time, decided to take employment with a U.S. airline because I was eligible to do that. But a lot of our students who graduate in the U.S., they're not allowed to work in the U.S., and so obviously their options are different. So for you guys, you have to decide for yourself what you want to do. Now, so what program do you need? Let's say you are studying right now, you're considering employment as a pilot, you're considering career as a pilot. What program do you need for this? So if you just come to US or any other place and do your training from 0 to CPL, you finish with 250 hours, technically you'll be eligible to apply. But you will be nowhere near the preferred requirements for this application. And you'll be competing with a lot of other applicants. And so if you're just at the very bare minimum, right at the bottom there, you're not going to get the job, right? It is very unlikely you're going to get the job if you just fit the bare minimums. What you actually need to do is have, as I said, at least 1,500 hours in full unrestricted ATPL, preferably from an English-speaking country. And so the best program for this will be our United States, our program in the United States. It's a fully integrated program in the U.S., professional airline pilot, U.S. for international students. The estimated cost is $88,000 to $249,000. And you can see right here, there's a lot of outline. You can watch this video here. You can watch this video of one of our graduates who is a pilot for United Airlines right now. He actually managed to get his EB-1 visa approved. And so it gives you an outline. And the outline is very important to understand what the outline is. You got the CPL, ML, ASL course. You got a CFI, which is flight instructor course, right? And then you got internship as a flight instructor for at least 6 months. And you got OPT internship as instructor or commercial pilot. So you have 2 internships here. Then you get your full ATPL. And then you got airline pilot placement. You got international internship as a ferry pilot. So you got 3 different internships. During those internships, you get at least 1,500 hours. You'll get your full unrestricted ATPL from an English-speaking country, from the FAA. You'll have work experience from US. You'll have the license from the US, and you have work experience from the Caribbean, which is right next to US, as a ferry pilot. So all those qualifications will be extremely attractive for Cathay Pacific. And obviously, needless to say, that Cathay Pacific, will be thrilled to give you a call and basically continue your enrollment process, mission process, subject to you passing all their requirements. But just read through that; you'll see the stages here outlined, explain exactly what this program represents. Now, there's also an option to go to Canada, and so if you go to programs and courses, and then International Pilot Canada, this program here in Canada takes longer. It is slightly cheaper, but it does take longer. And this program here also allows you to get jet time once you get your PR approval after 2 years of internship. It's a much longer process. If you want to apply for direct entry as a first officer instead of second officer, this will be the program for you, because this program will allow you to apply for PR and then work in Canada, again, regardless of where your passport is from, right? You work in Canada as an airline pilot, mostly for a regional airline, flying CRJ aircraft and stuff like that, and basically qualify for a direct entry as a first officer into Cathay. But Cathay mostly prefers to employ direct entry second officers. So I would definitely recommend considering going to our US program for that purpose, which is located right here, and acquiring those qualifications and basically becoming a Cathay Pacific pilot. So what do we do today? We just discussed the Cathay Pacific as an airline. Again, it's a great airline to work for, a phenomenal airline. We discussed the salary. We discussed the requirements to apply. We discussed how to get through the application process and basically get a job, what exactly to do during the interview. So, all this information is available, again, right here, right on the on a website, articles and reviews. Click on that, and that's how to become a Cathay Pacific pilot. Information is available right here anytime you want it. We do spend a couple of weeks adding more information if we need to, and basically, improving the article if there's any corrections required. We also get peer reviewed by our colleagues, especially from Cathay. So if something else needs to be added, we add it. But all of the information is available here right now, so you can always access it. And let us know if you have any additional questions about the article. We have another 15, 20 minutes to get it through the Q&A, questions and answers. So if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and just let us know what questions do you have. In the meantime, we're going to look at chat here and see exactly, you can always send questions to the chat message here. Okay, so the question, do they put you in a Boeing sim even if type rated and flying on Airbus? Yes, they do. They do. They don't care if you type rated or not. They want to see how you perform in a specific type of aircraft. And after performing the first exercise and approach and landing, they want you to see how you do with added complexity when you have to deal with an engine shutdown, and then basically do an approach with asymmetric thrust. We have 2 engines working on one side, only one on the other side. So this is just something that they want to see. They want to see where you're doing everything raw data without autopilot. When you fly an Airbus like I do, everything is done with autopilot. Majority of things are done with autopilot, and so and definitely not raw data. So it's a very different type of flying. I definitely recommend going into a local sim center and prepping for that. Right? Let's say Cathay is currently holding open days in Joburg, Dubai, London, etc. Is that by invitation only? Anybody can show up. Um, it was an open day. Open day is basically you show up there. It's like a career day, right? You show up there. You can probably sign up for that just to make sure that there's enough space there. It's like a job fair, right? And then basically you can talk to their recruiters. So you can talk about your experience. They'll tell you exactly what you need. They'll look at your resume. They'll tell you whether or not you need something to add there or you're good to go. And they'll probably ask you to apply. I would definitely just fill out application form anyways, because you can fill it out from anywhere in the world. And when you show up there um, at those sort of like screening interviews, just tell them you already applied and they'll know that you're so interested in the job that you showed up in Joburg and Dubai, specifically flew out there to talk to them. Is it going to get you a job? There's no guarantee, but it's definitely going to put you above the competition because you made an effort to go there and to talk to them, and they'll mark you down as somebody who's very, very interested, very eager. So yes, I definitely recommend going there. We got Manish here. I'm already FAA CPL single engine holder. Okay, so if you already have an FAA single engine CPL, what you need is this. You want to go to our career development program right here. Let me show you. Programs and courses, right? And then career development programs right here. Click on Pathway to FAA ATP, right? Click on that. And this is for FAA CPL holders. And it was obviously it's a lot cheaper. It's like 34,885. So it's a lot cheaper program. And so what happens here is that you get flight instructor ratings. You get CFI, CFII, and MEI, which is flight instructor basic rating and flight instructor with instrument and flight instructor multi-engine. And so it takes about 6 months to get. After that, you work as a flight instructor for, said, up to 18 months, or you work as a flight instructor for 6 months. And after that, we can, help you with during CPT. And after that, we'll help you during the OPT to get employment as a commercial pilot, or you can just stay as a flight instructor. It's up to you. Once you finish all that, you'll get a full ATPL. Again, I receive ATPL from US, and that's going to give you a fighting chance to get a job with Cathay. So again, if you just got single engine CPL from FAA, or it doesn't matter what country, it will give you absolutely no chance to compete with anyone else during the application process. So I would not recommend to expect Cathay Pacific to call you back or to send an email if you apply with those qualifications. You can apply if you want to, but it's not going to do anything. What you want is get a full ATPL with multi-engine instrument rating from the US, 1,500 hours at least. Another question here. Will Air get us with airline placement? Yes, we actually guide you right now sort of as a webinar. But you can always email us. If you are our graduate, we will provide you the information about who's hiring, what based on your qualifications, whom you can apply with, and how to pass through the interview. So we'll absolutely guide you. Moreover, all the airlines require the reference letters, professional reference letters. So we'll supply you with professional reference letters to ensure that you look very good on your resume. Okay. Okay, question from VCON. I already have FAA multi-engine instrument CFI as well. I've completed ATP CPT. Is there any chance I could participate in your program? I'm not sure what you mean because we don't. If you're talking about conversion, we have licensed conversion program. But if you're already completed all your flight training, there's nothing to train. So we can't really provide it with any training program. You already completed your training. And so I'm not sure what exactly we can do. How do you stay in touch with Air Cadet after you enroll? We're always available. You always can call us. Phone numbers are available. You can schedule a call. You can email us, and we always respond. So you always have an option to talk to one of the specialists. Most people who work for us, most consultants are airline pilots. So just give us a call anytime. Question from Luis Gomez. Hi, I hold FAA CPL multi-engine instrument frozen ATPL. I'm not American. for international pilots in the US. Yeah, so frozen ATP is not an ATP. In the US, that's a CPL, right? Frozen ATPL is specifically it's specific to EASA concept, and so it's not considered to be ATP. And also in Hong Kong, it's not an ATP; it's just a CPL. So again, what you could do is for our purposes, you just have a CPL. Again, you can go to programs and courses and check out our career development program, FAA to ATP, FAA ATPL to ICAO, CPL. So it's basically pathway to FAA ATPL for ICAO CPL holders. What you have is ICAO CPL. So check it out. The same program work for you. You'll be able to get your FAA ATPL after completion of 2 internships, CPT and OPT. Question here for Von Florian. Okay, thanks for the answer. I'm an Airbus guy. I can also get preparing a 737 sim since it's easier to find nowadays than 747. Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I wouldn't recommend 737 instead of 747. I would recommend specifically 747, and it's very easy to find. There is a sim center in Miami called Pan Am. If you remember an old airline, Pan American. So give them a call. They have a 747 sim there, and a lot of 747s are available because 747s right now are used for cargo operation. So if you look at 747 sim, I would definitely I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find it. And it's 747 guys specifically have profile for Cathay Pacific. So I'll give them a call. I'll definitely do that. Is the process similar for cadet pilot Cathay Pacific program with no flying experience directly applying for Cathay Pacific? No, it's completely different. The cadet program is available only for Hong Kong citizens. It's not available for international applicants. Okay, I just want to make it very clear. The cadet program, which is free flight training, everything's free, everything's paid by Cathay Pacific, comes with a very lengthy contract. I think it's like 15-year contract at least. And it's only available for Hong Kong citizens. If you come from India or United Kingdom or stuff like that, you're not eligible. Okay, question for Umesh. New change of immigration will affect the program in Canada as a postgraduate work permit. Okay, so we have a lot of questions about new changes. From 1st of March, the Canadian government has limited the amount of students they can study in Canada, and the limit is about 355,000 a year. Okay, that's a lot of students. That's a lot of students. I'm not sure what exactly was the amount before that, but it's not that different. And so that's not going to affect you that much. If you're coming for a full program, from 0 to ATPL training in Canada, most likely you'll be able to get an allocation by us. You'll be able to get a student visa, student permit, and stuff like that. The only difference is that right now you need to have approval by regional government. Again, it's not a problem. IFTP has liaison officer with their local government, and they'll provide you with approval letter. So that's not a problem at all. Postgraduate work permit is guaranteed after completion of training. So if you got your student permit, you already pretty much guaranteed postgraduate work permit. Postgraduate work permit is not affected. It's just the amount of visas, student visas per year, which are affected a little bit. So it's not a problem. Okay, guys, if you got more questions, you can just unmute yourself and go ahead and let me know what questions you have. I got probably another 10 minutes or so. Go ahead. Are you able to leave the company Cathay Pacific or as any training bond? Yes, this training bond. So if you enter as a second officer, I think there's a training bond for maybe 6 or 7 years. I can't remember exactly what it is. Can you leave? Of course, it's not slavery. You can always leave, but you'll be liable for X amount of money pro rata. So I can't remember exactly what it is. I don't know what it is specifically. A prorated amount of training will probably be, I would say, maybe $50,000 or $60,000, something like that. So let's say you leave after 3 years, right? what they'll calculate the amount of training they owe after 3 years. So you probably owe $30,000, okay? And they'll basically ask you to pay that. So that's, but yes, you can definitely leave. All right. Mr. Umesh, thanks for answering, but my training duration would be less than 1 year as I have to. But yes, the training duration for, oh, you mean, okay, in Canada, I understand now. Okay, so if you already have CPL and you want to do your career development program in Canada, right now it's on hold. Unfortunately, it's on hold because our flight training providers in Canada they need to allocate as a priority the visas to students who are doing ab initio training from 0 to CPL and CFI. If you just come in to do a very small part of training, right now they waiting until they're waiting whether or not they have leftover allocated allocations basically for the visa. So and this is why if you go right here, if you go to Pathway to Canada, click here, you'll see that red banner. Yeah, we put it on March 1st, and it says from March 1st we basically do not have allocations for career development program in Canada. So if you already have CPL, your only option for career development is to go to our US program and get your ATPL with multi-engine rating, CFI, and stuff like that. So, it's important to understand that the rules have changed if you already have a CPL. So if you don't have CPL, if you have an issue student, you start from 0 or PPL level. If you just got PPL, that's still okay. If you got PPL only, you can come to Canada. You can do your whole training in Canada with us. We guarantee the internship. The internship is provided through postgraduate work permit, and basically there's a lot of things that you can do. You can graduate with with ATP after internship. After 2 years of internship, you can apply for permanent residency in Canada, and obviously you're eligible for that, and that's going to give you an option to work for Canadian Airlines. Airlines like Jazz Aviation, for example, who fly CRJs, and you'll be able to make money, work as a first officer there for a couple of years, and that's going to make you eligible for employment as a first officer with Emirates, Qatar, Etihad, and stuff like that. Or you can stay in Canada if you want. It's up to you. Is it more expensive to apply for Air Cadet than directly to our partners? No, we don't charge anything additional. What we do is, we have contracts with providers. So what we do is we design a program, for example, right? Like we design a program here, which gives you integration with flight training and then internship after that. So several internships, right? And after that, assistance with placement with an airline, okay? And the contractors work for us, and we are basically the architect of the program. For example, if you build a house, right, you hire an architect. The architect sort of designs the house for you, and then the architect hires a bricklayer, to build the brick, and then the plumber to build the plumbing and stuff like that. This is kind of what we do here. We design a program ourselves here because we're airline pilots, and we know what is required, what is needed for people to get employed after completion of training and internship. We want to make sure that there is an option for you to get to your airline employment ready after completion of training, right? 99% of flight schools here will give you training. You'll get the CPL, and after that, they'll tell you, good luck. Thanks for spending money with us, and we don't care if you get a job after that or not. That's not our problem. That's what they'll tell you, right? And this is why we have, pilots who have CPL contacting us and asking, hey, where can I get my ATPL? How can I get my ATPL? Well, my question is this: why didn't you get into a flight training program which gave you guaranteed internship after completion of training? Because that's what we recommend. We think it's imperative to make sure that you have guaranteed internship after completion of training, and that's what we offer in our programs. Okay, if you just go to flight school, you just get a CPL, instrument, single engine, multi-engine, 250 hours, you're not going to find a job after that. It's going to be very, very difficult. And you're going to sit at home, and you're not going to fly for a year or so. And after that, your medical will expire, your skill set will diminish, and you're going to end up doing something else. And unfortunately, we know a lot of pilots who spent all that money on flight training and ended up working an office job because there was a huge discontinuity between their the completion of their training and the actual career, right? This is why it's imperative that you enroll into a program which guarantees the continuity. You finish your training, you got an internship lined up, it's ready, right? You finish your internship, you got another one lined up, it's ready, okay? And you continue until you get qualified as airline transfer pilot license, which is what you need to become an airline transfer pilot, right? And I don't know anybody, and I know a lot of pilots. I don't know anybody who's got a full unrestricted ATP from US or Canada and who's not employed by an airline or some kind of advanced charter operation. I don't know anybody. Once you have this qualification, you'll get headhunted, okay? People will want you, right? The airlines will want you. Everybody's hiring right now. It's very intense hiring environment. So yeah, I'm not saying it's going to last forever like that, right? Because that changes. But right now, the situation is very, very good in terms of hiring. So everybody's hiring right now, US, Canada, around the world, Emirates, Cathay, everybody's hiring. Okay, let's see if we got any other questions. Captain, what was your dream airline to work for? Well, I gotta be honest with you. I didn't really want to fly wide body aircraft because it's a long haul flying, and I don't like long haul flying. I don't like to be jet lagged. Okay, so it's my personal thing, and this is why I ended up and stayed in narrow body aircraft like Airbus 320, 321, which I'm flying right now in the US. I just don't like long haul flying. I don't do well with jet lag or with losing sleep during the nighttime, which will definitely happen when you fly long haul. Some people do well with that. I don't do well with that. So my ultimate decision was to basically stay in the U.S. airline, which flies day flights. So I would do a turn, for example, I fly from Orlando to I don't know, Minneapolis or to Los Angeles. I might stay in Los Angeles for one night and then come back. Well, I'll fly to Minneapolis and come back the same day. That's my ideal sort of flying. I prefer this kind of flying. That way, I'm home almost every day, and I don't have to, deal with jet lag problems. Losing sleep and stuff like that. So, but that's me personally. I have a lot of friends that deal really well with that, prefer that. They prefer to be in different countries every day, and so they fly wide body aircraft. In terms of money, it's about the same money. We don't really have a huge gap in income. There's a gap in income between pilots who fly regional aircraft like CRJ, ERJ, which are limited to about 75 passengers. And yes, they get paid about half of what we get paid. But, for me, I'm doing my dream job right now. So thanks for asking. All right, so we got, what would be advised for someone who has already completed the training but cannot get internship or that first job? Okay, so again, if you complete training, I'm not sure what you mean by complete training. If you just got CPL, you can enroll into one of our career development programs. If you already have CFI license, we can't really do anything here. So this is yes. My advice would be to look for employment in small companies. Some small companies offer employment. For example, just off the top of my head, some of the King Air, not King Air, Cessna Caravan operators, for example, in Indonesia, might hire you to fly there for a year or two. This unfortunately there isn't a lot of options. This is why you need to have an internship lined up. This is why we if you go to our website and just click here, schedule a call, right? You can schedule a call with any of us for free, right? You can schedule a call with airline captain here for free, for example, right? Select any of those things, and it's free. We don't charge anything. Most consulting companies anywhere in the U.S., consulting company will charge you anywhere between $200 to $300 for a consultation. We don't do that. We want to give you advice for free because we want to make sure that you make the right choice. Okay, and so once you already completed your training and stuff like that, it's difficult to say what to do. But if you just got CPL, go to our career development program, click here, and this is the program you need. If you just got CPL, if you already have CFI, unfortunately, we won't be able to help you. Question from ASIM. I live in Hong Kong. I'm going to apply for Canadian program. +1, a transfer from Canada. Speak it. I'm afraid to take astigmatism. Okay. So astigmatism is not a problem, not in Canada, not in the US, and not in Hong Kong. Okay. Astigmatism is corrected by corrective lenses. You can wear corrective lenses. It could be contact lenses. It could be just glasses. And if you see well with those glasses, if you have 20/20 vision, then you'll be able to get the Class 1 medical for Canada. You'll be able to get Class 1 medical for Hong Kong and stuff like that. If you're not sure, if you live in Hong Kong right now, just go to Cathay City. You know where it's located, right? It's in Hong Kong. And ask them, hey, I'd like to get a medical from one of your doctors, from one of your physicians. At this point, you'll always have to pay for that. I'm not sure how much it costs because it's free if you're going through the interview process. Okay. But the medical takes, I want to say, maybe 45 minutes. Okay. And they're going to check your hearing. They're going to check your eyes, depth perception, obviously your pulse, your blood pressure and stuff like that. They're going to go through a list of medications, but it's not a long process to get a medical. And, your vision will be tested there as well. So don't worry about it. If you got astigmatism, a lot of people do. It's not a problem. As soon as you have correct vision, corrective vision devices like glasses or contact lenses, you're qualified for Class 1 medical. It's not a problem. But yeah, we definitely recommend taking the U.S. program and basically, finishing the qualifications faster. There is a more robust employment market here for your internships. So you can get, obviously, guaranteed internship as a flight instructor already for the first 6 months. Once you build up 600, 700 hours of total time, you can actually, when you apply for OPT allows you to work anywhere in the U.S., will assist you with getting employment as a commercial pilot on a turboprop aircraft so you can fly turboprops. Here in Florida, we got a lot of turboprop operators who fly to Bahamas. They fly to basically anywhere in the Caribbean. And so it's very sort of very nice, very pleasant, very cool way to build flight time on a turboprop aircraft like King Air, for example, Shorts 1900, and get the rest of your flight time up to 1,500 hours. And you can diversify that flight time, not just piston flight time, but also turbine flight time. It's all going to be on a propeller, but still, it's turbine time is a turbine time. So I definitely recommend doing that. Question: how much time will it take to finish FPFC in the UF if you start from CFI? So if you're talking about you already have CPL already, right? Again, if you go to programs and courses and FAA to ATP, this program right here has an outline, right, of the timeline right here. Okay, so FAA commercial pilot license. So if that's a conversion, it takes about a month. Okay, if you're not converting, if you already have FAA commercial pilot license, it'll be a couple of weeks to get standardized to the standards that we require. After that, you got about 5 to 6 months to get a certified flight instructor license, and then you got CPT and OTP. So the minimum training period is 6 months. If you already have a CPL license from any ICAO country, including US, it could be anywhere else, it could be India, it could be anywhere. So it doesn't really matter for us. But yes, the flight training, it takes about 6 months. All right, question from Von Florian. Generally speaking, are the panel interviews respectively the technical questions? Yes. So the panel interview, so you got two panel interviews, right? You got one panel interview is with airline pilots, okay, and that's going to be a technical interview. Um, and you'll probably see two or three airline pilots, well, Cathay pilots, basically, normal Cathay captains sitting there at the table, and you'll be facing them, and they'll be grilling you, okay? One guy's going to fire a question to you, tell me about this. The other guy's going to fire a question at you, tell me about that. And it's mostly going to be about your aeronautical knowledge and decision-making process. So they might present you with a situation. What are you going to do in that case, right? That's what's going to happen with a panel interview, with a technical panel interview. After that, you'll have a panel interview with HR representatives. The HR people are not pilots. They're human resource people. They'll be asking you about a resume. For example, they might ask you about your degree if you have one. What was your thesis, right? If you don't have one, they might ask you, okay, we're looking at your high school diploma, and it's not looking that great. Your marks, your grades are very low. What happened there, right? Explain to me, right? And if you tell them, listen, I wasn't motivated, right now I'm motivated. You can see I have my flight training completed. I never failed a check ride. I was motivated to be a pilot. But when I was in high school, I wasn't motivated, right? The important thing is you have to explain yourself, right? So they'll be asking questions like that. They might ask you as well about your previous employment. Well, we can see you worked here as a commercial pilot in Florida, and you flew King Airs to Bahamas, right? Tell us about that. Tell us about anything that happened to you during this period. Did you ever declare emergency, stuff like that? So you have two sets of panel interviews during the period, and so you'll be able to prepare for them. First one, just aeronautical knowledge. Just go through aeronautical knowledge. Simple as that. The second one, just go through your resume and be prepared to answer questions about your resume. All right, guys. Well, looks like there's no more questions. If you do have any additional questions, you can always ask us. We'll be happy to answer them. Shoot us an email to info@aircadet.com. You can schedule a consultation call. Again, go to our website, aircadet.com, schedule a call, right? Click here, admission guidance, career guidance with airline captain, admission guidance with program specialists. We got different UTC. This GMT plus 5 is GMT minus 5. GMT is obviously UTC. So, we got Zoom admission interview for enrolled students. Don't select that unless you're already enrolled. Okay, this is for those who enroll into a program. We're using that after they filled out application form, and we just want to talk to them to ensure that their English is good and they're motivated to start the program. Other than that, we probably conduct another webinar in a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. If you have any requests for any specific topics for webinar, again, shoot us an email. Our email is info@aircadet.com. And if you don't remember, just go to contact. Easiest thing to do is fill out a contact form right here. It's very simple. Just your name, basic information that we need about you, and then shoot us, submit it, and we'll be able to, talk to you, connect with you, and basically give you guidance. Again, we don't charge anything for our services. You can always sort of talk to us for free. Our consultations are free. You'll be talking to myself normally for the airline captain consultation, or you'll be talking to a couple of my colleagues. Depending on the situation. So, well, it was great talking to you. I want to wish you a fantastic rest of your day, and we should be able to again, just subscribe to our mail. We'll shoot an email to you when we have a next webinar, probably 2 or 3 weeks from now. Hopefully, we'll be able to conduct it from our hangar. At the airport, but it all depends on the weather. Right now, the weather is, has been raining throughout the night. We actually had a tornado warning, so we had to hide a lot of aircraft in the hangars. And right now, we're sort of unpacking them, getting them ready for the flying, probably in the afternoon after 1 p.m. All right, have a good evening. Take care. Bye bye.